This Launch X431 has been my favorite BMW scanner over the last year, but now there is a new version. The new Launch X431 Elite 2.0 Pro is a bi-directional full system scanner with ECU coding and a ton of special functions and free lifetime updates. Let's check it out. This unit comes in a pretty unassuming box, and you wouldn't even know that it can do all of these things by just looking at it. But yes, it can also do OBD2, and you can do some reporting, and you can graph a bunch of stuff. So yeah, very nice features. We'll look into that as well. It has a 4-inch LCD, can work between 9 and 18 volts. Here's the temperatures, dimensions, so pretty standard stuff. But in the box, you also get a quick start guide. So it just shows you, how to plug it in, how to set it up, and all those things. And when you first turn it on, you have to basically select your language, time zone, and connect to Wi-Fi. You don't necessarily have to connect to Wi-Fi, but it's suggested since you should update all of the software on this, so you have the latest versions. Here is a user manual, so it just goes a little bit more in depth on all of those items and how things work, how things are split up as far as diagnostics, and a few other things as well. But anyway, with the unit plugged into the car, it starts charging the battery also, so that's nice. So as you can see, it's charging from the car when it's plugged in, but I'm just going to hold the power button and power this device on. While it's powering on, we can look at the power plug. So it's just standard USB-C. You can plug it in to charge. Power button, this is a rubberized, pretty nice, actually kind of casing on it, so it's not hard plastic. Very nice to see. It'll be even if you drop, it'll protect it to some degree. You do have a screen protector on it. I'm just going to leave it on so it actually protects the screen, and it powers on pretty quickly. And then we're presented with the menu. Here at the top, we see the voltage of the battery in the car. We have the time and date. And here is what you see when you go to upgrades. All of these have been already updated, but the demo part of the software has not been, which I don't really care for it. And once everything is updated, it's ready to use. And of course, it is ready to use before you even update everything, but you want to have the latest data. So we have OBD2. This is going to be the standard OBD2 function. So the same stuff that you would see on basically any scanner, right? It can do your live data for your engine and transmission. It can tell you if you'll pass emissions or not. So yeah, lots of functionality here, but that's not what we're here for. A lot of scanners can do that. What a lot of scanners can't do is what this scanner can do under diagnose. So if you go here, we're going to be presented with auto detect. So this will basically just automatically select the vehicle for us, or we can just dive into the menu ourselves and go to BMW, Mini, or Rolls-Royce, and then select the model ourselves. But I'm just going to use auto detect since, well, that's just easier. It will do it for me. So it's going to find the VIN number and then figure out what vehicle I'm actually in. So let's just give it a second. It's going to start processing all of the modules on the vehicle, and that's kind of what is really cool about this unit, right? Why it's the ultimate BMW scanner. It's because it can scan the full system. So all of the modules on every system can be scanned by this, which is kind of amazing, honestly, for the price you're paying for this. That's almost unheard of. So I'm very excited that these are becoming a lot more common and easily accessible for everyone. As you can see, it's scanning all of those modules that I mentioned, finding all of the errors, and then we'll be able to go into each one. Before that, though, we are presented with a report. So we have all of the vehicle information. We have all of the modules and some disclaimers. So we can, for example, click on this module and it's going to tell us exactly what's happening. So we have a permanent code right here. We also have a share button. So if we click on that, it's going to generate a report, and then you can put your emails in here and send it over. So pretty cool. If you're working with customers, you can just send it over and then they'll be able to look over it by themselves. Going all the way back, so we're going to go all the way to BMW and then just click on OK. And this way we're going to be presented with some of the other options that this can do. Not only is it capable of doing a full system scanning, it's also able to look into each module. So we're going to get into that in just a second. So once again, we can do automatically search. It will search all of the modules in the vehicle, or we can do a manual selection and just go to, for example, I-Series. That's the one I have, and then do a health report, or we can see each module individually within the system. I'm just going to do the automatically search part. And there it is. So here's all the information. That looks correct. We're going to click next. After almost a minute of loading, we have all of this information for the entire vehicle. So we can do the health report. This is gonna basically do the same stuff that we did when we hit AutoVin. So we have all of this information. We can do the report and everything else, or we can go back. So let's go back and we can do a system scan. So this is a little bit different because we can actually go into each module after. And once it loads, we are presented with all of the modules that are available on this vehicle. So for example, we can select instrument cluster. It's gonna go into the specific module. Here we have the ECU identifier. We have some other information. And if we click continue, we have all the fault codes that we can clear. So for example, we can read the fault codes. Here are some of those. Go back and we can clear them. There you go. We can also read the data stream. So this is going to be live data coming from the module. Super, super important, as most scanners will not do this. So for example, we can go to fuel sensors or something like that and select them. So select a few of them, hit OK, and there you go. We have that information right here. And of course, it's going to be live as well, which is very cool for troubleshooting. So if you have something that's not working, a button that's not working, or you don't know if it's reporting the values that it's supposed to, you can check it here, basically on any module within a BMW vehicle. You can also record this, or you can graph it. So it's going to graph it just like that. Pretty nice, actually. Fast refresh rate here as well. And you can combine it, so you can select all of them like that. And then we have all three of them being graphed at the same time. Very, very nice. So pretty cool stuff right here. And that's just the start of it. Yeah, you can do it for every single item within just this specific module, but of course you can do that on every single module as well. And we also have actuation or active test. So this is the actual bidirectional functionality. So if we go in here, for example, we can turn on, I don't know, like the flashers, right? The turn signals right there. So we can control the vehicle from this device. Very, very cool. That's the bidirectional functionality, and you don't find it on scanners double the price of this one, you know, so that's kind of amazing that it can actually do so. And yeah, of course, you can do it on any other module. So for example, you can start the fuel pump, you can run some self-tests, you can do the e-brake, for example, if you're going to be changing the pads. Obviously it depends on the module and what's available there. Going all the way back, we also have special functions. So let's go in there and see what we can find here. This is also going to be dependent on the vehicle, but you can go into each one and it will show you what it can do. So for example, under drive for this vehicle, we can reset adaptation values. We can burn off a new catalytic converter, leakage testing, check engine internal pressure. I mean, look at all this stuff, right? Very cool. We can do a service start compression test. So it's not going to like, you know, put fuel in it, reset starter lock, delete secured mode. We can even start the range extender from here, so we can fire up the engine just from this module. Very cool. High voltage unit information. And also for chassis, so we can go in here, we can do automatic hold brake, bleeding routine, so brake bleeding. We can adjust the driving dynamic sensors. And then of course we can go to the next one, which is going to be body. And here we can do the power window regulators, high voltage safety status. So this is actually the high-end OEM functionality that you would normally get with like BMW software when you're working at a dealer. You can evaluate the state of charge for the battery, for the high voltage electrical battery here. Lots of AC stuff. You can drain and fill the refrigerant circuit. Like, I mean, look at all these things that it can do. Register a battery exchange. So if you're changing the battery in your BMW, you have to, you know, register it and even program it. It can do both. There's also a few other items here as well. We also have a few other more general special functions. So like delete transport mode and, you know, a few other things in here. Basically, this tool allows you to do what very high-end OEM tools can do for a lot less. The hardware in here is also pretty good. So this is a 4-core 1.3 gigahertz CPU. It's running on Android 8.1, not the latest version, obviously, but it's better than the launch X431, the V1. Also, it has 16 gigs of storage, and it's a 4-inch touchscreen, so pretty nice, easy to see, and everything else. Lastly, let's look into coding and programming. So this is pretty interesting, and this will actually allow you to program in new modules, for example. Not all of them, but some of them you'll be able to activate them using this. So what you can do here is you can go to personalize, and this will actually allow you to customize the functions of different modules. Very, very interesting stuff. A little dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, but if you go in here, you can actually adjust a lot of different configurations. For example, on my i3, I've made it so the mirrors fold in when I lock the car. That's not a standard feature on these cars. Maybe in Europe it is, but not where I live. So that's actually pretty cool. You can enable it. And there's other items like that as well. I actually have a full video on 10 things that I've coded for this car. Like I've coded in that 10-inch screen. This car came with a tiny screen, so I put a 10-inch screen and used one of these or a very similar device to program it to the car. So actually, if we go into the CIC computer, so the car information computer, we can do function select, and here we can do the actual changes. So for example, we can show engine power and torque, so that enables that menu within your iDrive system. We can change languages, so we can change from the kilowatts to brake horsepower. We can do motion mode in iDrive, so it will allow you, for example, to watch videos while driving, or you can, yeah, like right there, speed value of navigation and video set, activate locked speed, reversing video disclaimer. So that's actually like I've changed this one. When you go in reverse, it doesn't tell you be careful, don't run people over. Like I know I'm going in reverse, right? So you can change the phone ringtone here. Lots of cool things that you can enable, and that's available on every single module that supports it. Obviously, if it doesn't support it, it's not going to show up in here. Yeah, look at all those options just for one module. Fuel level menu. So yeah, you can add a lot of cool things that may not be available in your region or for some reason are disabled. You can add all of that stuff from here. Actually, hundreds of options that you can choose from. And then of course you can back it up and program it into the vehicle. And then there's retrofit, and this will allow you to actually replace modules on the vehicle. Very cool functionality. A lot of people have been asking me if I know a scanner that can do that. Well, this one can. So as you can see, this scanner can do a lot, and obviously I didn't go into every option, but especially in those special functions, there's literally over 50 different service functions that you can do just on this one vehicle, and it supports all BMW vehicles that of course have OBD2 functionality and everything else. And overall, it can do full system scanning. It's bi-directional. It can do ECU coding, lots of high-end OEM functions that we saw. It also has a 3000 milliamp hour battery, so it should last a decent amount. And if you go into settings, you can also change the units of measurement. You can do so it auto-detects the vehicle as soon as you plug it in. I disabled that. Change the brightness, sound, connect to the network, change the time zone. There are a few different languages in here. Well, a lot of different languages actually, so that might be useful for you. You can enter your workshop information that will show up on those reports, and you can also recover, clean up, and reset the device to sell it or give it to somebody or whatever you want to do. And if you go into data here, you have the recordings. If you decide to record stuff, you can also look up the codes, what they mean and how to fix them. You also have the user manual and some of the screenshots if you want to take those, and yes, it can take screenshots as well. So if you go and take a screenshot just like that, it will then be saved here in images right there. So you can take screenshots and send those over. So yeah, lots of cool functionality here, but most importantly has free updates over Wi-Fi, so you don't have to pay for updates basically forever. As long as the company exists, you should be able to get free updates, which is very nice. And you don't need to have Wi-Fi in order to use it. So even if you can't update it anymore, let's say in 10 years, you can still use this device. So is this my new favorite BMW scanner? Definitely. For the price, I think it's an amazing BMW scanner with tons of functionality that you would just not expect to see on a device like this. If you'd like more information, check out the link in the description. If you'd like to see more reviews on my channel, click on this video right here or maybe this playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!